Hey, Robbie, Jack again from Flat Cap Hero Talk here. Apologies for kind of the pinkness in the background. It's just very sunny, trying to keep the light out right now and keep, the apartment nice and cool. But today I'm going to be kind of talking about what Kulusevski and Bentancur have brought to the club, maybe how they've kind of helped our chances in top four, how they've kind of progressed us and made us a much better team, just kind of break them down. I feel like they kind of do things a bit separately, if I'm going to be honest about it. It's hard to say maybe what they do similarly or different. But let's kind of bring up maybe what Bentancur does first. I think what Bentancur does really well is that we finally have gotten a midfielder that can actually receive the ball on the half turn and look, upfield. It's something that Skip, I think, has kind of struggled with at times. It's something Winks really struggles with. It's something that Højbjerg, doesn't really do to the best efficiency either. We finally have found a midfielder who is a ball playing midfielder, someone who can pick the ball up with a half turn, take risks, be a bit more graceful, try to get the ball up the pitch a bit more progressively than other players. And I think that's basically what's made this midfield a whole lot better is Bentancur. He gives you that defensive side of the game, which is what Conte likes, but then he also gives you that kind of hard work in terms of the progression of play. He's constantly looking to receive the ball, constantly picking up pockets of space to be able to pick up and turn and look for players upfield, something that I think the rest of the midfield has struggled with. Højbjerg does it from time to time, but isn't exactly reliable in that regard. Skip, again, a bit similar to Højbjerg, does it from time to time, but isn't the most reliable. And then with Winks, it's just another story. Let's maybe just take a quick look at maybe what Bentancur kind of offers, maybe Spurs. We could take a look at the passing stats. This is just him from FBref here. This is just him in the Premier League. So of course his stats are going to be really inflated because he hasn't actually played that many minutes. So we are like ranking his per 90s compared to other midfielders in the Premier League. So again, like if he had played a whole season, these numbers would probably be a bit down, but the fact that they are so high suggests maybe that impact that he is bringing into the club. I think a key stat there is the fact that his long passes are very good and those passes into the final third, completing over 5.5 passes into the final third per 90 is exactly what we're talking about. Someone who can pick up the ball on the half turn and be able to find somebody kind of in the other side of the pitch as well. And you can really just see the accuracy is great. The amount of passes he makes a game is really impressive. You can see as well when you kind of go into his goal creating actions and shot creating actions. The fact that he is creating, taking a part in a lot of goals is kind of impressive. And even the fact that he's creating 2 shot creating actions for kind of a deep lying playmaker, for kind of a deep lying midfielder, and just a 2-man midfield, also very impressive, I must say. And then his defensive numbers are good, actually. The pressures are decently high. The blocks are decently high, which is all good to see again. So Bentancur, he brings you that sort of ball playing midfielder kind of role that, is exactly what we've been looking for, but he also gives you that defensive solidity that we've been kind of, asking for from the midfielder at the same time. We either have Højbjerg, who's defensively solid, but isn't exactly a ball playing midfielder. You have Skip, who's kind of similar in that mold. And then you have Winks, who's maybe a ball playing midfielder, sort of, but just doesn't offer you the defensive side. And if you're going for a 2-man midfield, you need both players to be good defensively. Just another little quick one. You can tell that, he takes a lot of touches. Again, just shows how much he is like trying to receive the ball, how much he is trying to find those pockets of space. He has some of the most carries in the Premier League as well. Again, what we're talking about, someone who's trying to get the ball up the pitch with his own 2 legs, trying to make the game happen, trying to make things happen. I think we could as well kind of take a look at Kulusevski's stats as well. Kulusevski, what he's definitely brought to the team is also, I think, in comparison to Bentancur, what Kulusevski has brought is probably more creativity than we've ever seen from any right winger. What we've been looking for in that right winger is that third goal scorer, is that third creator. It doesn't even need to be a goal scorer, it just needs to someone that can create goals. And with Lucas, it's just inconsistent. And also when it comes up against better opposition, seems to kind of disappear. With Bergwijn, it just seems like his best position is on the left wing and hasn't ever really been that effective on the right wing. So we have been kind of constantly searching for that third goal scorer. Tanguy couldn't do it. Delhi, recently in the past 2 years couldn't do it. Gio couldn't do it. And Kulusevski has finally been that guy who can be that third goal scorer for us, which is exactly what we've been crying out for. But what he probably brings is more creativity than Lucas. He's probably a better goal scorer than Lucas, but I think what he brings is that those kind of creative actions that lead to a goal. He's also someone that plays on sort of the same wavelength as Harry Kane and Sonny, which I think makes him a very effective player. But if you do kind of take a look at his sort of stats, the fact that he is creating nearly a goal per game is very, very impressive. And then as well, when you look at some of his passes, he creates 2 key passes a game, which lead to a chance or a goal as well. So what Kulusevski is bringing is sort of that I don't know, that intelligence that maybe we've been lacking on the right wing. We need someone who can play on the same sort of wavelength as Son and Kane, and Kulusevski is finally that player that could do it. Lucas inconsistently probably played on the same wavelength as them, but then certain days, like we said, before, just kind of disappeared. Whereas with, I would probably say, it's getting a bit windy, as I would probably say, Steven Bergwijn could have been that guy, but it just didn't work out because he's not a right winger. And then when it comes to what the impact that Bentancur has had, I think he's just been the midfielder we've been crying out for, someone who can actually pick up the ball on the half turn, someone who can actually find the passes forward and progressive that we've been asking from Højbjerg, we've been asking from Winks, we've been asking from Skip, and finally we've gotten that in Bentancur. Sorry if that was a bit all over the place, Robbie, but hopefully it still, made some sort of sense to you. Really do appreciate giving me another chance to make another video for your channel. And as always, everybody, I will be seeing you.